Three, two, one, and we're live. What's up, everybody? It's Tyler with Hook Sets Are Free. It is a little bit late, about a half hour later than my average time. It is Saturday, August the 24th, 9:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it's 11:30 already on the East Coast. I apologize for going live this late. I don't even know how much of an audience we're going to have this evening. So kind of depends. If we don't get anybody in here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I might just postpone this live stream. We'll see. We got Brendan Brown in the house. What's up, dude? How have you been, Brendan? It's been a while. I know I haven't been on in some time. Let's see when my last live was. July 20th. It has been a month. So you are working out and listening to Tool right now. All right. Uh Doesn't make you feel like a tool, huh? I'm just kidding. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. It has been the most busy part of the year for me, is every year right before kids go back to school. We do a ton of HVAC work in Denver public schools. So, yeah, that whole month of August and usually bleeding into September is absolute chaos for us. So, I have done some fishing. Um, I've had better success at night than when I'm able to escape and go out for, an hour after work or what have you. Can you believe Banquet wasn't available? So I'm drinking a Bud Heavy, the king of beers, original Budweiser. I'm not above drinking a Bud, but I do prefer the old Banquet. Still have my empties from last live, which is kind of embarrassing that they've been sitting here for a month, but yeah, Dustin was going to go ahead to shower. Well, if you want to hang out for a little bit, I've got a package. Gosh, my dog just busted up the stairs like a true a-hole and is now going to have it be loud upstairs. So hopefully I don't interrupt my kids trying to go to bed. I just put them down. It was a little bit of a late night. We were over at my dad's house. I would say my parents, but my mom's out of town. So we were just having dinner with my dad, playing some board games, reading some books, doing some bonding before my dad goes to Alaska tomorrow to do some fly fishing for salmon. But Big Malone in the house. How you doing, dude? Oh, get out of here, dude. Cheers. Still tasty. I'll give him that. Um, doesn't quite do it for me like a Banquet does, but I don't mind a Bud Heavy. I wouldn't quite call it the king of beers, but that's their claim to fame. Oh, she's already seen it, dude. She's already seen it. She's been giving me a hard time. She would rather me be picking up the trash down here by my stuff than me streaming right now. But it is what it is. I got a fresh package in from Discount Tackle. I will go ahead and post in the comments right now my affiliate link. The four of you guys already know the gig, the deal. So if you're interested in anything you see here, go ahead and copy paste that link into your browser. Go to Discount Tackle, make a purchase, and I will get a small kickback. Discount Tackle loves to see it. I don't mind the little bit of extra dough, and I appreciate it. So Discount Tackle has continually been upping their game consistently over the last few years. Ooh, and we got a new sticker. Not necessarily a new pattern, but new color. Gotta love all the different species of fish in the background of that sticker. I love it. That is a good one for sure. Can't tell if that's my dog or my children walking around upstairs, but got some good baits in here. A lot of these are new to me or new to the market. In fact, $86 I spent on this order. And we will start with a bang. If you guys are bass heads, which I know you guys are, The few of you guys who are in here tonight with very late notice, maybe you got a notification, maybe you were just hoping I'd go live and I'm on late and you managed to get in here. So Cast and Chill in the building. What's up, dude? This right here, do you know what that is? If you guys follow the hookup tackle, which I'm sure you do, you would have seen these as of a few weeks back. They don't get an exclusive on all this stuff like they used to. So this is the Great Hunting 110 Fine Art Series patterns. So this is the Megabass Vision 110, but it's Japan only. So the Great Hunting series typically are trout baits. And so you'll notice that a lot of these patterns are trout color patterns, and they are wicked. This is the brown trout. I think absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you could not get a Megabass Vision 110 in a color like this. So that is stunning, fantastic. And it does say Great Hunting 110 on the back. You get that kind of green gold back, the perfect rainbow trout pattern on, or sorry, brown trout pattern on the side. And you do get that pearlescent belly on there. So lovely color pattern. And somehow, some way, these are a little bit cheaper than what you pay for a standard Vision 110. So keep that in mind. $22.99. Obviously not cheap, but considering that they are fine art finishes, not all of these. This other one is not a fine art color. $22.99 is not bad at all. So that is the FA brown trout. And this color here is the LZ Autumn Halation. And take a look at this guy. I got this strictly because it is so different than most other color patterns out there. And I feel like there will be a time of year in the spring and in the fall when a red-ish color like this works out well. So you got that black back with a little bit of gold sparkle in there. And got that wild red stripe down there with all of that flash in there. And then a unique bottom and tail. So very cool color pattern. That is LZ Autumn Halation. So, yo, two sweet 110 colors that I never had and never knew existed, but are new to the US market and are at Discount Tackle. So if you want, we can do a quick check to see if they are in stock right now. We will just do a quick check. New arrivals. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can. New arrivals. A lot of Yozuri. Oh, are the Megabass there? Maybe they vanished in the last week. Great Hunting 120. There's the 110. Nope, they're here. I don't know how they were hiding, but all colors are in stock right now. Here's that FA Brown Trout. I was real tempted to get this guy, FA Amaga. That's a fine art as well. We got Ghost Wakasagi. Wakasagi. A lot of people say Wagasaki, but it's Wakasagi. I don't think it really matters all that much, but you get some really cool and wild colors here. Get that pink hit on the tail. This is the one that I just showed you, LZ Autumn Halation. Got a wild green back, gold orange belly. And then this one also, I think, is pretty freaking sweet. So a lot of trout patterns, but you also get a lot of classic, beautiful bass patterns that are traditional bait fish patterns, these Wakasagi and IU patterns. So anyway, go check those out if you have any interest. A little bit cheaper than the standard Vision 110, and in some ways, better colors, which is pretty freaking sweet. Next up, this is a new bait. I think it's new to the market too. If you noticed right when I was showing you new arrivals at Discount Tackle, Bastrix was on there. In fact, let's just go scroll down a little bit. So you see all these Bastrix baits, right, that are pretty new right before all the Yo-Zuri stuff. So this stuff just popped up like a week to a week and a half ago, right after the Great Huntings. Look at that. Great Hunting 120 has a totally different body. Almost looks like an I'm a flit or something of the sort. But the 110 is a lot like the traditional 110. So the one bait of all the Bastrix that really appealed to me was this guy, the Duratrix. And that is what I have in my hand right meow. Bastrix Duratrix Jerk Minnow. 7 inches, 3 baits to a pack. This is the bait fish color. And let's see what she's about. I don't know if Duratrix means that, wow, this packaging is stout. This like shiny stuff makes it, it's a very thick sticker it's got on here. But let's go ahead and pull these. Ooh, so that's why they call it Duratrix. So this is a 7-inch fluke style bait. You can see it's got a ton of tail on it. Very thin for the last like 3 inches of the bait. You get a very solid, big body that's about 4 inches, and then a long, very thin tail for the last 3 inches of the bait. And a couple awesome features are the top has a slit for your hook to just lay there. You do not have to Texpose it. The bottom has an open belly for you. The head from here forward is all solid. So that'll hold the hook really well, won't blow out. And then this is made from some type of elastomer. So it is going to be extremely durable. And I am not mad about it. I do not know what the sink rate or just how floaty this thing will be. If it will sit on top, if you do need a keeled weight, like a flashy swimmer or a beast hook to go on there, I'm not sure. This is the first time that I've seen the bait. I didn't know that it existed. It could be new to the market. I don't know, but new to Discount Tackle and caught my eye. So decided to buy a pack of them, and I'm already not mad about it. So I will find a time and a place to use these, and yeah, check those bad boys out. So that is the 7-inch Bastrix Duratrix, $8.99 a pack. So you are paying $3 per bait. Not cheap, but with how durable they are, it's actually a pretty reasonable price. And then we go small. So feel free to run out of here if you want to. We've talked about this bait a million times before. I love it. And these were on clearance. This is the Keitech Easy Shaker in the 3.5 inch. Like I said, these were on clearance. I want to say $2.99 a pack. Yeah, $3.11, kind of a random price, but 10 baits to a pack. It actually kind of looks like there's more. There's 12 in here for $3. So we're talking 25 cents a bait. And these are some of the best drop shot baits that I have used. And they're loaded with squid scent, just like you'd expect from Keitech. These have a neutral buoyancy. They hold really well horizontal in the water on a drop shot. And you could also throw them on the back of a spinner bait, a micro chatter bait, on the back of a jig if you wanted to. You could throw it on a little shaky head, Ned rig, whatever you want, even a Nico rig. That easy shaker is tough to beat. So good deal. Couldn't pass them up. Next up is the new drop kickers from Z-Man. Brand new bait, was released at ICAST, comes in 2 sizes. I got 1 pack of each. And this is a drop shot bait with a very interesting profile. So I got this bigger size that I think is the most versatile in one of my favorite colors, the Shiner color. Strike King calls it Arkansas Shiner. You'll see that it is meant to be rigged like so, with that rib body down, the flat side up. You can see the placement of the eyes on the nose of the bait. And yeah, this has a very interesting shape to it. You see those slits. Kind of hard to show you, but I am holding on to the bottom and top of the bait. So you've got some taper with the way that the bait is cut. That's the top. And that's the bottom. And then it really tapers down. And you have this sideways. Oh, it's actually not a sideways boot tail. Okay, cool. I could have sworn these were, the boot tail was laying on its side, but this is actually not. That makes me a little bit more at ease with how this thing is supposed to be swum. So this does have a wedge tail, which has been quite a bit more common and popular at Z-Man over the last couple of years. You see, I'm holding this still, but it is wanting to wiggle. And obviously made from Elastec. This is Z-Man after all. Don't know if it has any salt in it or if it is totally buoyant, but this thing you might want to drop swim. I couldn't tell you. I haven't fished it yet. This is a new bait. You might even want to just stroll it, throw it on a tiny little jig head and swim it through the middle of the water column. Or you might want to throw a drop shot weight below it and then just swim it just above the bottom. So this is the drop kickers in the 3.5 inch. And then they also make a 2.75 inch. Just a tiny little guy. And this is the green pumpkin goby color, which is arguably one of my favorite colors that Z-Man makes. So green pumpkin with purple and gold flake in there. Same exact profile, all the same features I just explained. You do have a little slot for the hook to lay in and for the hook to go in. So on the bottom and the top of the bait. I'll show you side by side just how dramatic the difference is between a 3.5 inch bait and a 2.75 inch bait. You get a lot more body with the 3.5 inch bait than you do with the 2.75. Both of these probably going to use in a similar application, but I suppose the 2 3/4 is a little bit more smallmouth friendly. feels pretty dang small to me. So I'm probably a little less likely to throw it than the 3.5. And I do kind of wish that they made a slightly bigger size than this, but if they did make it bigger, then it might start to feel a little bit too slender with how much that tail tapers down. So 3.5 could be a great size, but I was curious more than anything to just see what the bait was about, especially since it's got that wedge tail, and there was kind of a lot of hype about it at ICAST. So that is the drop kickers from Z-Man, and they're $4.24 per pack. Pretty standard Z-Man pricing. You get 5 to a pack with the 3.5 inch and 6 to a pack with the 2 3/4. We got just a couple more baits in here, and that's going to do it. We got 10 people in here right now. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. I would appreciate it. You got the Missile Baits Micro D-Bomb. I've already seen Debo and a handful of other people fish these and have good success on them. So I always suspected these would be good baits, but boy, are they cute and tiny. They look and smell just like regular missile baits. This one, straight out of the pack, as can happen with missile baits, is a little bit kinked up, twisted around. Not my favorite when that happens, but also I think it matters a little bit less when the baits are this small. Plus, you are going to get a vast majority that come out of the package just looking like they should. So, one of my favorite colors, this is the Super Bug. Kind of a green pumpkin, black and blue combo. That bait is so small that I can't have it sit still. And it is just a micro D-Bomb. And when I say micro, I mean this is really, really small. I don't know exactly. I want to say it's like 2 inches. It doesn't say on the package, but this guy is so little. It's got those side appendages and then these D-Bomb legs or kickers, if you will. So you're going to have to use a 1/0 hook, like at biggest, and throw this on a micro jig. So it could work on something like this little micro jig that I bought, a month or 2 ago. Could work on anything that is, a size 1 hook and smaller on a micro jig. And then if you're going to baby Texas rig this thing, if you're going to flip it around, you're going to want like a 1/0 size EWG or flipping hook, something really small, but still got a nice, pretty thick body, all things considered. And I'm kind of excited to give it a shot. Has the standard missile bait scent on it. Really cool, tiny little bait there. They come 10 to a pack, and they were $4.22 per pack. The other color that I got was Oxblood peanut butter and jelly. So you get that classic PB on one side. Nice little swirl in there, actually. And then you get that full-on jelly. Not quite June bug, but very purpley. No flake on that jelly side. So you do get the flake on the peanut butter side. You get that red, almost pinkish flick in there. And yeah, beautiful color. Oxblood peanut butter and jelly. So 2 packs of the micro D-bombs. And last but not least, this was a bait that came in stock at Discount Tackle maybe a month or so ago. This was right after my last unboxing, and it sold out like right away. Diggs Outdoors, what's up, dude? Cast and Chill, we will talk about that in 5 minutes once I finish this unboxing. I am totally happy to talk about that. But the new X Zone Stealth series of baits came out this year at ICAST, and there are like 4 baits in this series, maybe 5, something like that. And they are a micro series of soft plastics. And this one seems to have the most play, also the most hype around it, but it vanished from Discount Tackle within a day of showing up. And I was kind of bummed about that because I had it in my cart. And then when I went to check out, it wasn't there anymore. But then I didn't pull the trigger on the cart for like another week or 2. And guess what? They showed back up and in stock. So this is the Stealth Creature, 2.75 inches. This is a creature bait, kind of a brush hog-ish style profile. And so what you get is that elongated creature body with what look to be multiple segments on it. And then you get those side legs sitting off to the side. Interesting. You do have to disconnect the tails from the legs. But if we move the tails out of the way, you get those standard like brush hog style legs or kickers, and then you get these tails in the back, which are different than pretty much any other brush hog that you'd see out there, in that it has a little slot in there. You could cut that and then have 2-piece tails, but really this is to move more water. And in fact, if I move these other legs up and out of the way so we can just see the tails, what you'll notice is there's actually 2 different spots where there are these holes. One is higher up here and one is down here. So you're going to get a lot of movement and you're going to get a lot of air bubbles coming through those holes. So you got a lot going on here in a tiny profile. You also got the ribbing on the back there. So super cool, well thought out, tiny bait that I think is going to have a lot of play. Even down to the very last details of these side legs having just a tiny little piece of plastic sticking off the tail there. You can see right there. So a lot of ribbing, a lot of texture. And this is a cool bait. So got 1 pack in this green pumpkin, black and blue. I guess they call it black, blue, green pumpkin laminate. Again, that's a 2.75 inch creature bait. Should have just showed you the packaging up close because that kind of explains it as well as I just showed you. Aside from the ribbing on the bottom and a couple tiny little details, but that is her. And then got 1 pack in, I want to say my favorite color overall that X Zone makes. And this is 309. So kind of a classic Gobi color. Little bit like what Z-Man calls the deal. You get that pearlescent blue on the bottom, and then you get a kind of a lighter green pumpkin, copper purple flake on top. So beautiful color. Again, I think the integrity of these baits is going to stay pretty solid because these tails aren't really going to move until you separate the legs from the tails. And it is possible that what I just mentioned a minute ago about there being the extra plastic hanging off of these side legs was not necessarily intentional, but that is just the connector piece between this side leg and the tail itself. So if you rip this off too fast, this might come off, or maybe it's designed for you to just pull it right off. I don't know, but I'm sure it works just as well if you do. So there she is without those guys hanging off of the legs, but beautiful bait. And I am happy to have it. That might, I mean, goodness, this package was like full of stuff that I am very excited to have. So let's run through it all one more time real quick, and then we can move on. And we'll keep this to a pretty short live stream tonight, but did we get 8 packs of soft plastics? So the only hard baits in this unboxing, in this package that I got, were the Megabass Great Hunting Series 110. So this is a Vision 110, but part of the Great Hunting series, mostly the color patterns more than anything. Just a straight up Vision 110. Brown trout, and then LZ Autumn. Oh, what was it? LZ Autumn Halation. The 7-inch Bastrix Duratrix jerk minnow. This is an elastomer fluke style bait with a super thin long tail on it. Awesome big fluke style bait. And then we got the Kitech Easy Shaker 3.5, just because they were on sale on clearance. $3 for a pack of 12 of them. We got 2 packs of the new drop kickers. One in the 3.5, one in the 2.75. We got 2 of the micro D bombs from Missile. And we got 2 of the X Zone Stealth Finesse creature baits, 2.75 inch creature bait. So all of that. Yep, didn't miss anything. $86. If you have any interest in any of that, go visit Discount Tackle. I'll post one more time in the comments right now. Copy and paste that link into your browser. That'll take you straight to the homepage of Discount Tackle. We'll use my affiliate link, and I would greatly appreciate it. So that wraps up the unboxing portion of this video. We kept it short and sweet, which I love considering we showed up late tonight. But chicken fried steak in the house. What's up, dude? Now, who had asked? Cast and Chill, wondering, how am I feeling about Bo Nix? Dude, I am feeling pretty good right now. You got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt, because all we have to go off of so far is preseason, right? Which should not carry a lot of weight. He's not playing against full-on starters yet, but he has been very composed. Shows a lot more experience, and I don't know what the word is. I guess chemistry with his receivers, and I'm pretty excited about it. I will say when the Broncos decided to get rid of Russell Wilson in the offseason, I felt mixed about it, but ultimately was kind of salty because I mean, we're setting records for dead money in the NFL. In the history of the NFL, nobody has done that, just thrown away $40 million just like that. And so Russell Wilson was not a great fit in Denver with Sean Payton. I am totally willing to admit that. But at the same time, he did play better last year and we weren't all that bad. So most of us fans thought that, it's at least worth riding out the rest of his contract, maybe have him groom a new quarterback and see what we can do in the future. So it was a little bit frustrating to just get rid of him and not get much in return. And so it felt discouraging to see that what we were working with was Zach Wilson and Jared Stidham as our two options at quarterback. So I was not disappointed to see that we went to draft a quarterback. And Bo Nix, has the most college experience, not only of anybody in this year's draft class, but of anybody in college football history. Uh, and he was good in college, especially last year at Oregon. So I am happy that we picked him up, and so far I'm impressed. I went to the game last week against the Packers, where we smoked them out, and I'm going tomorrow to the last preseason game against the Cardinals. Um, do I have high expectations, or do I care too much about the end result of tomorrow? No, I don't expect Bo to play much, if at all, tomorrow because he's already been named the starter going into the season, which is cool. Pretty unconventional for the Broncos to do that. Also, still pretty unconventional for it to happen in the NFL. Although I'd say in the last 5 or so years, it's become more commonplace to have, a few quarterbacks every year that are rookies and start straight out of the gate. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. And yet I'm also checking my expectations and not really expecting us to do any better than 500 on the year. If we can go 9-8, I'm happy about it. Will that make us the playoffs in the AFC? No. I do not expect us to make the playoffs, but I am hopeful that Bo Nix gets the experience he needs, proves himself to be our future quarterback. So that is my lengthy but honest response about Bo Nix. I'm excited about him, dude. Um, I don't know if Brendan is still in here. He was blasting Tool and working out at almost midnight his time, right when I started going live. But Brendan asked me if I've been fishing lately. The answer is some. As much as I can get out, I have gotten out. Has not been a tremendous amount over the last month since I was live last time. I did go up to the mountains with my kids and we did some fly fishing, caught some trout. Here's me and my boy, my 3-year-old. That is his hand holding that trout. Dude is 3 years old and already a pro. So love it. Um, we caught some good rainbows and we caught some sucker. It was family day at that spot. So he caught maybe a half a dozen fish. I went out for a very short period of time, caught myself a handful of good rainbows. Check out this dude right here. That was a really nice fish. And yeah, so a bunch kind of in that like 22 to 24 or maybe even 25-inch range. Bunch of good rainbows. So that was 2 weeks ago. Most important thing was that my kids were having fun. I mean, when you see a look like that on a kid's face right after he caught a fish, you're doing your job. So he was just happy to be catching fish, holding them, releasing them. And I am so happy for him. But yeah, I had a wedding. I played golf a few times. I've gone night fishing a few times. So you can see I caught a bunch of fish one night on July 28th. And yeah, including a couple walleye and a catfish. Never mind, I never mind catching a catfish or a walleye on a chatterbait. Um, Always a fun time. The walleye don't fight quite the same, but the chatterbait has been a real sleeper for me this year. Not even sleeper, like it has been what I've caught almost half of my fish on this year. So all of those fish are in the last month since I was last live. Um, and then yeah, before that was all stuff that I showed you last time, but more chatterbait fish primarily. Um, so yeah, early pre-spawn, and then most of this summer, it has been a lot of chatterbait fish for me. Tool is a jam. Yeah, well, I don't know that Brendan is still in here to defend you in Tool. I never quite got into Tool, but we got one more King of Beers. I'll crack that open. What else do you guys want to talk about? Tell me about your guys' latest fishing adventures, what you've been throwing, how you've been catching your fish. Because goodness gracious, I've been stacking up lures and not using a ton of the new ones. Um, it's a damn shame. A lot of it comes down to availability, when I can get out and fish, and also trying to make the most of when I'm out and fishing. I will say one thing that made me really sad is that I did lose my Jackal Swing Mikey earlier this summer. That was maybe a little over a month ago. That bait had done really well for me last year and this year. And she's gone, no longer in my arsenal. So at some point, I'll probably pick up another one of those. I really did enjoy how that bait works. It is a topwater wake bait slash swim bait that has a really unique tail and can be walked or swum really slow or cranked down just a little bit. It does have a lip on it. I was very disappointed to have lost that bait, but I had not checked my line enough times and I cast that thing to the moon. I thought about swimming out 100 yards to go get it, but yeah, that was in the middle of the night and made a cast and it just sailed. In fact, I never heard it land. Gators Adventure says puff puff. Yeah, he's a big puff puff guy. Are you passing that as well, or are you just ripping down the entire thing, brother? Interesting, dude. You don't know what it is. You can't ever do great on chatterbaits. You always lean on a swim jig more. Yeah, it seems to be kind of on again, off again for me. Seems that I kill it on a chatterbait one year, and then next year it's not as good for me, and the swim jig does tend to do better. So then I'll go a little bit more stealthy. I'll throw a swim jig. I'll throw a weightless Texas rig with a soft plastic on it. So like when the chatterbait wasn't as good for me a year or two ago, things like the bellows gill and the cover scat really kind of took its place and dominated for me. And now it's been a reversed year. So chatterbait has been absolutely killer for me this year. The Evo has been great for me. The Jackhammer has been great for me. The Depths Custom B has been great for me. And also the Thunder Cricket has been great for me. Only one that has not been great, but that I perhaps didn't give quite the time of day it deserved, um, was the Slobber Knocker. I was having great success on other chatterbaits, started using the Slobber Knocker and did not have the same great success. And so I tried it a few times throughout the year and didn't really love it. Wasn't the deal for me. So that one I have not used a tremendous amount. What's up, dude? Young blood. Yep, no hangover. I hear you. I'm going gulp gulp and you're going puff puff. I hear you. Um, Now that said, I won't have a hangover tomorrow. This is only my third beer of the evening. I had one at dinner with my dad, an IPA, and now this is two Budweisers. I probably won't have another one after this stream. I've got to do some handiwork around the house in fixing my AC system. I don't know if you can tell that I'm a little bit sweaty. It's like 78 degrees in my house right now. I'm just waiting for the outside air temps to cool down and come through our windows. We've had AC problems the last 5 days. Today, I finally identified the issue. Our evaporator coils froze over. Um, I think it was just a foolish mistake on my part in not changing the air filter uh, soon enough during the summer. And so eventually that restricted the airflow too much and coils froze up, everything backed up. And yeah, we've been without cooling for about 5 days now. And so today I finally had a little bit of time after doing yard work to dig in, found the problem, and had a giant block of ice inside my AC unit on top of the evaporator coils. So, problem, but I'm halfway to fixing that problem and we should have AC tomorrow. So, I've got a little bit more work to do on that this evening. So, I doubt I'll have another beer, but we will see. Big Malone says, my last trip was the first trip out in a while after my thumb recovery. Caught 3 bass, none much size, but all on swim baits. Nice, dude. What kind of swim baits were you throwing? Trying to think of the swim bait usage I've had this year. I've not thrown the Chad Shad as much as I wanted to. I threw it a little bit. I don't want to say a decent amount. I threw it some, a handful of days in the spring and into the early part of the summer. I've thrown the Mag Draft, the Swing Mikey. I've thrown some rats. I did try that new Evergreen rat. I almost think it's a little bit too big for the fish that I chase that love to eat that Spro rat size 40 and don't eat the 50 quite as well. That Evergreen rat is so cool. The design of it is fantastic. The sound it makes is awesome. But I was not able to get any bites on it the 2 times that I went out and threw it, though I did not give it more than maybe an hour's worth of time. So No gators. I do not think that we are low on refrigerant, but we will find out probably tomorrow, if not on Monday. So fingers crossed that that is not the case. If it is, not the end of the world, but I am hopeful that that's not the issue and that I don't have a refrigerant leak that could be causing problems that would be persistent. So don't know yet. Cast and Chill says my last trip was a tough bite. Zoom Finesse Trick Worm. Texas rigged with an 1/8 ounce weight. Caught a few. Nice. Yep. That's a good rig. Shaky head or a light Texas rig. Can always catch a few, especially if you're up shallow or if you're out deep. Now, I fish a lot of drop offs, I fish a lot of riprap banks. So I don't throw things like that all that often because I am going to get hung up uh, pretty often. So I would throw that for me in shallow water uh, around the edges of grass or cattails, uh, or up in the edges of where creeks feed in. That is typically where I have the most success on light Texas rigs, Ned rigs, things like that. But once it comes summertime, we get a lot of grass and weed growth. And so I don't have the opportunity to throw that type of rig all that often this time of year, at least in the, you know, 10 bodies of water that I fish most frequently. What are you saying is the 168 knockoff? That's what you were throwing? Why are you throwing a 168 knockoff? Um, you just can't justify spending the 25 or 30 bucks on a 168 or what, dude? You were out a couple days ago throwing an S waiver. Well, you're throwing the S waiver at a marina, and a 6 to 7 pounder followed it but wouldn't commit. Isn't that a shame? What'd you follow up with? And or did it follow all the way in and then got spooked? Because that's a dang shame. You hate to see it, but as swim bait enthusiasts would say, well, at least you know where that 6 or 7 pounder lives now, and you can come back later. Um, but let's admit it, it hurts. It sucks when you see a big fish like that. Your heart starts pumping. You're thinking you've got a legit chance at catching that fish. And when you don't, you blow your chance at it, you figure you're never going to catch that fish. But there is some truth to knowing that that fish either lives there or does like to hang out there in those conditions or at that time of year. So at least you've got some of that information to go off of moving forward. But sorry to hear it, dude. Big Malone, let's take a look at Discount Tackle. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good excuse. You painted him up, my man. That's pretty sick. Honestly, that's probably better because the standard S waiver, I mean, 19 bucks. There are not a lot of great colors in the S waiver. And isn't it weird that the paint it yourself, the blank is the same exact price as all the others that have already been painted? This Party Crasher is a pretty good color. I think this yellow perch, I used to like it, but it's a little bit too loud of a color for me. I do kind of like this Warden a little bit, but I'd say that Party Crasher, the light trout, little bit the abalone shad, little bit the bluegill, and maybe the hitch are like the only ones that I really like. So you pay more for the 200, but the 168 is cheap, dude. 19 bucks. So yeah, I certainly hope it's not a price thing that's holding you off of just buying a real one instead of a KO. But I don't blame you if you're wanting to just fool around and paint them up. That's the reason that I initially had bought these blanks of the OSP Blitz, was to do just that and paint them myself, get a little bit creative with them. Um, so I don't blame you. Hitch and Bone. Is that what you painted, or those are the colors that you like of the S Waver? Gators says, I've been buying Big M / Tacklecraft collab baits, not even fishing them. Yeah, that's the problem with those, right? Is they're so beautiful and such high quality baits that they're collector's items. Um, so one, that makes you want to not fish them, but then two, they're so high quality of baits and they're expensive that if you manage to get your hands on one of those limited edition baits and then you break it off, or you break the bill or crack the bait or whatever it is, um, you're gonna kick yourself, right? You're not gonna be happy about it. In fact, you're gonna be sad about it, and you're gonna regret having fished it and not done justice to the bait. So that is a tricky spot to be in, is to buy baits like that. Then what do you do with it? You just hold it. You look at it occasionally. You let it sit on a shelf or your wall. You're just happy to have known the guys and know the quality of work that they're able to put out, but you don't do anything with it. Don't know what to say. Give them to the grandsons, yeah, and then have them lose them or fish them and get them snagged and do what you didn't have the balls to do with them. Or maybe they sell them and make a really nice profit off of them. I don't know. Still tricky. You'd buy one, you just have 4 of the others for now. Okay, I hear you. Yep, Party Crasher. That's exactly what I was just saying, dude. I'm with you. You painted a baby bass and a golden shiner. Nice. Yep. Well, those are good options that don't necessarily exist stock from river to sea. So I'm with you on that. Cast and chill, I rarely do. There are certain bodies of water where it does make sense for me to do that, where the water is clear and we don't get a lot of weed growth. So I will fish them, but that is not when I have the most success on them. So in the same places that I would fish a fluke, but have the ability to fish treble hooks and kind of want the bait to go a little bit deeper, yes. So I would say I only fish traditional jerk baits, like a 110 or something of the sort. Um, maybe 5 to 10 times a summer. It's very dependent upon the body of water and the water conditions. So I not all that often, but sometimes yes. No, I'm more of like an Epic Eric type of painter. Um, I do not have all of the traditional um, paint setups. I didn't quite go down that rabbit hole. I stopped at fly tying, jig making, skirt tying, and feather trebles. Uh, did not go much further than that. So I have paint pens and a whole bunch of nail polish, and I will get creative, um, but no, I do not do a ton of painting. So I will alter some baits. I will fiddle around and tweak some things, but no, I'm not a legit painter. So maybe one day, but that's a totally different rabbit hole to go down. And if we're being honest, I fish soft plastics more than I fish hard baits. I have more hard baits than I need. And most companies have invested in painting, and paint technology has gotten a lot better over just the last few years. So, just a couple years ago, something like, I mean, maybe we're talking more like 5 years ago. Something like the Tiger Truce from Sixth Sense was a really simple but pretty cool and clean looking color pattern. And in general, I would have said that Sixth Sense and their color patterns were like top of the game. But in just a few years' time, a lot of companies have been able to step up their game. Strike King and Rapala, and now Bass Pro Shops with their new hard baits, some of their color patterns. They're integrating, both stuff from Megabass, Sixth Sense, and other painters, and just doing really clean work at a cheap price point. So it is becoming less and less justifiable, and I am becoming less confident in my ability to overcome that learning curve to be able to get to the point of painting really nice looking baits. Um, when you're not really paying a premium for it anymore, it's just most companies have stepped up their game and are looking good for the same price point that they've always been. So yeah, that's a big part of it too. Tom Mix in the house. What's up, dude? Better late than never, indeed. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on here, but thank you for joining, good sir. So I was never big on BFS. I want to say it was just last year or the year before that I finally invested in dedicated BFS gear to kind of see what all the rage was about. And I last year and this year have given it a fair shot, but I prefer to kind of power fish. And so naturally the main disadvantage or downside to BFS is casting distance and the fact that you're really aiming to throw lightweight baits. So you're not going to long bomb anything of size. You're going to make a shorter cast with something that is really small and really light. So in my mind, I'm using BFS when the numbers are in my favor and when I'm fishing for smaller fish or for multiple species of fish or just cuz I am in the mood for fooling around. But no, I throw BFS like 10 or 15 times a year. And will when I bring the stuff out, I'm kind of dedicating myself to primarily BFS fishing on that outing. So yes, I am still committed to doing it, um, but I'm not big on using it. I will say that. Um, I feel like using a spinning rod and reel, I can make longer casts. I can be a little bit more accurate um, in placing baits where I want them to be, especially further away from where I am. Now, if I'm in a tight spot, I might prefer to have a BFS setup. I feel like I can be accurate in very tight spaces and with shorter casts with a BFS setup. But otherwise, I would say I do prefer a spinning rod and reel to BFS in a lot of the applications that I thought BFS would kind of take over for me. I caught like a 6 pound catfish on BFS gear earlier this year, and that was the ride of my life, dude. Took me forever to reel that fish in, and the drag was screaming. Uh, so that was really fun, but no, I'm not big on it per se. You need good hooks. You hate changing hooks. Yeah, well, good hooks are becoming a little bit more standard as well. So bad paint jobs and bad hooks are starting to go away. And isn't that appreciated, right? Bass Pro Shops is a reasonable example of that. Um, their their paint jobs and their stock hooks used to be just shit. Um, and as a result, I didn't fish any of their baits. Now, their stuff is, dare I say, good. I was gonna say halfway decent, but their paint jobs, good. Their hooks, not bad. Um, Now, what exactly are their hooks? I don't know, but they are just good enough to where I'm not going to change them out straight out of the gate. It used to be that Strike King and Bass Pro and even Rapala all came stock with these shitty VMC or otherwise hooks straight out of the package and had to be replaced. And so I always kept a huge stock of Mustad triple grip and Owner ST36 hooks, um, and a few other types of hooks in addition to that. But things are evolving for the better. And I don't know if it was Berkeley um, with their hooks kind of changing the game, but the fact that all of Berkeley Baits started putting on their um, fantastic hooks straight out of the package and not really increasing the price point. And Bill Lewis stocking triple grips on all of their baits straight out of the package. A few bait makers and even 6 cents, with their hooks that are very good, not, very triple grip esque, but the standard has changed and lure manufacturers are getting better. I do not have the Karashi and therefore have not been fishing it, but I have considered it. Yeah, dude, pretty good stuff. Now, their plopper style bait, I fished it once or twice. It is heavy as shit and a little bit too big body for me. Still has that hard tail. I don't know why nobody else is making the plopper style bait with the same type of tail? Why is everybody copying the Chapo instead of the Whopper plopper and just going for that real loud and aggressive and fragile um, profile, sound, action, all of it? I think the Whopper plopper still is king in that category, but I agree. I like the new Bass Pro stuff in general as well. Pretty much all their hard baits. You bet. Which ones? Bass Pro and Strike King? Maybe. I mean, honestly, the Bass Pro 1.5 square bill looks a hell of a lot like the 1.5 KBD square bill. So I would not be surprised. Yes, I have. So, in fact, I don't think I have it in my box right now because I have fished it a couple times this year. Let's look her up. We got to stop and then we got to start and then we got to find the right tab. So we're talking about the Swerve, right? They've put out a couple new cool color patterns in the last year or so. I wish I could scroll through the color patterns while we've got this view of it. The albino is a pretty cool color pattern. Clearwater shad's a good one. Rainbow trout's kind of meh. I don't think these are all the color patterns that they have, but basically, this is a fat and tall glide bait. So I am impressed with it. It does glide pretty wide. I like that. It has a stiff tail. Does not have an overly aggressive joint to it. So it is more of a traditional glide bait than, something like KGB Chad Shad. Wait, did you not see that? Yeah, okay, you did. I just forgot that we went back. So I like it. For 20 bucks, I definitely like it more than an S waiver. I find that it's a little bit easier to control and has more presence, more body to it. So I like the Swerve. I have been curious to try. They made a wake bait with the Swerve body that looks pretty cool. So take a looky here. XPS Swerve Wake. So really just the Swerve, but with different tail on it. And then they've got a wake bait bill on there. So I am curious to try that. It's got a little bit more cut. So if you were to get rid of this bill, it's going to be a little bit more of a chopping style glide, but essentially same body, different tail, and with the bill, same size, 7 inches, 2.8 ounces. Is that essentially the the same size. Wait, are you not seeing this? Or are you seeing this? You're not seeing it. How annoying is that? I don't think on either of these you got to see it because it opened up a new freaking tab for me. Yeah, you see the screen, but you didn't see me actually open up the Swerve Wake and show it, right? Presumably you see this now, which is what I thought I was showing you. So as you can see, it's got that different tail and the Wake bill. If you were to cut that bill off, because you've got a little bit of a steeper joint here, it's probably going to chop a little bit better than what you get with the original Swerve. So interesting. Take a look at this. We've got the original Swerve with that tail that I was talking about. And then they've got, I did not realize, a brush tail Swerve. And these are some of the color patterns that I was talking about. Gizzard Shad looks freaking nice. Sunbaked Bone, Ghost Shad, crappy. So that's 3.1 ounces, 7 inches. Same size and weight as the original. Little bit heavier than what we get in the Wake Bait that's 2.8 inches or 2.8 ounces. But I am curious to try that one. The XPS Wake Up Call, I have tried a few times. I did buy this bait. I like it. I just have not had much success on it yet. Pretty cool bait, a lot like the 6th Sense Speed Wake. Or what was the Strike King? Well, I guess Strike King made the original one way back when, but then 6th Sense was able to make it. Now Bass Pro's got a version of it. Wake Shad. Yeah, so Bass Pro's making some good new hard baits. I will give you that. I'm with you there, dude. Precisely, dude. Precisely. All right, guys. What else? I'm happy to sign out whenever you guys are. It is almost 11 o'clock my time. We've been on an hour and 20 minutes. It's been fun. It's been real. Dare I say it's been real fun? Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always fun hanging out with you guys, as always. Always happens to be a Saturday night. I didn't even see, was Debo on tonight or no? Like I said, I was at my dad's house late, not available at all to see if Debo was on or what anybody else was up to. I've been busy. Diggs, you missed it. All right, Debo was on. Maybe I will rewatch that as I'm troubleshooting and fixing my AC system this evening. But right on. I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Budweiser's the king of beers. You guys are the king of bass. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Hit that thumbs up button. I'm sure you guys are all subscribed. If somehow you're not, do me that solid. Make sure you are subscribed. And until next time, good luck out on the water. I will see you again soon. We'll do a giveaway next time, I promise. Okay? So keep an eye out. It will not be a month until I'm back on, I promise. And we will do a giveaway. And I'll make sure at least one or two of the things are newer. So whether it's the Q Bomb or the Big Nessie, I mean not super new, but maybe the big swim bait. We've gone through all of this stuff, somewhat recently, but I will definitely do a giveaway next time for anywhere in the ballpark of 30 to 50 bucks. So, Frank, you saying bye before you even say hi. You freaking guy. Great to see you, Frank. Thank you for hanging out. Hello and goodbye. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your weekend. Go Broncos tomorrow. And until next time, see you later, homies.